So the big question is this: how do most agents who struggle to get the information that most successful agents hoard to themselves grow and prosper without this information? That's the big question, and this video cast is the answer. Welcome to Real Estate Rockstars. I'm your host, Pat Hyben. Congratulations to the following brokers: Ameriteam Realty, Dunes Properties, Impact Real Estate, Long and Foster. Yeah, that's a big one. 11,000 agents. Plum Tree Realty, Real Estate Professionals, Realty Ohio, Remax Advantage, Remax Essential, and Agent Strong all have taken action and negotiated steep discounts on Rebus University's award-winning courses for all of their agents. If you want unpublished pricing for all of your agents like these brokers have done, go to hybendigital.com/teams or simply pick up the phone and text or call Catherine Brower at 843-749-9900. And now for the review of the day. Got a review in the Real Estate Rockstars Facebook group. Man, this thing is blowing up. Steve Varhall. Steve says, "Hi, everyone. I'm in my second year of real estate. I'm from Minnesota, and I work with Remax Results. One day, I was searching for real estate podcasts and came across Mr. Hyben. Pat, along with all of his guests, have been a blessing. I would love to partner buddy up with anybody to hold ourselves accountable." He puts his number here, so I'm going to read it. Look, if you want to have an accountability partner, give Steve a call, 612-867-9437. And his email is stevevarhol, VARHOL @gmail.com. Steve, I hope that was okay sharing that. But, hey, I hope you get way more than one accountability partner. Listen, man, I have a lot of accountability partners, and it's really what has allowed me almost all of the success that I've had in my life. So, hope that's cool, Steve. And hey, by the way, thank you for the 5-star review, my friend. Keep the comments coming, guys. I love them. And remember, I eat feedback for breakfast. So give me a 1-star review if you want, or a 5-star review if you want. I don't care. And the more reviews we get, the better guests we get. So please, subscribe first, and then leave us a review or wherever you're listening. Okay, Rockstar Nation, we have a great guest and a friend of mine. Mr. Vinney Chopra is on the line. And Vinney came on probably 2 years ago. And then recently I was at a GoBundance event, and he was a new member, just joined GoBundance. And I was like, hey, I know you. And we became fast friends at the GoBundance event. We actually shared a ride back to Denver, Colorado from Steamboat and caught up on so many things. We've been in touch since. And one of the things Vinney and I talked about on the ride to Denver, which was a 4-hour ride, was something that he calls a renter nation. And I said to him, I said, listen, I got a lot of real estate agents. Majority of my listeners are real estate agents. They're not going to be happy to hear this news. But Vinney was going on to explain that the amount of people that are renting is drastically increasing, and the amount of people that are actually purchasing is drastically decreasing. And I said, let me get you on the show so you can explain this to us, and hopefully as real estate agents and real estate investors, we can learn from this. I'm not sure how we can learn from it, but we'll figure out ways to learn from it so that we can be more effective at our jobs and be more aware of, if anything, be more aware of that this trend is happening, and that we should, as agents, save a lot more money and maybe invest, because there's investment opportunities because of this. So without further ado, Mr. Vinney Chopra, welcome back to Real Estate Rockstars.
Thank you, Pat. It's such a pleasure. And, when I found out that you'll be there and you're one of the founding fathers of GoBundance, that was very appealing to me. And it was just so wonderful to spend that time at Steamboat and got to know 140 or so CEOs, very hardworking, charging young people and older people like you and I who were there. And we enjoyed a lot of good time there, good eating and good camaraderie, good understanding. And I really value that 4 hour that we spent together driving
Yeah.
back to Denver. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. So, Vinny, tell everybody like what you do, like what you're about, Monel, and your investment companies and that sort of thing.
Sure. Actually, I have been investing in single family homes, Pat, like we discussed in my last interview for 30 years, over 30 years. And many times people look for $100 or $200 or $300 cash flow per month. And at the end of the year could be, almost like 300 times 12. That's, $3,600 or 3,000. But if something bad happens on the way, boiler goes out or roof or something, or the tenant leaves, that messes up the rental income. So I became a broker myself in 2004, almost 14 years back. I was looking into what could I do, which is a little different than just investing in single family home. We have owned our primary residence. We have changed about 4 times, and then increased the equity and bought a bigger one and bigger one. But I came across multifamily about 14 years, 15 years back, and that really caught my attention that far back. More I looked at the commercial side, I thought I would like to be a good expert in commercial. And I looked at office buildings, looked at hospitality, industrial, all that, strip shopping centers. Somehow, multifamily caught my attention. And more I dug deeper into it, 14 years back, it just made sense to me, the economies of scale. Like, if I own 20 homes spread all over the city or states even, I have 20 different roofs to take care of. I have to, have 20 different transactions because I have to buy each single family separately. I have to have maintenance staff and collecting rents, all that. But combining it into a 20-unit apartment building made sense to me back then, because only 2 roofs maybe, and also the maintenance person can take care of the toilets or whatever, even though I never got into it. I always had a management company with my single family homes. But now with multifamily, I have my community manager and things like that, because we are buying larger units. My first one was 14 units, by the way, with my old. Then we bought 109 units, then 150, 160, 267, and we went all the way to almost 3,100 units under our control. Then I sold 10. I did 26 syndications, by the way. I also believe in pooling money together, because we all have finite amount of money. Nobody has too much money,
Yes.
So that's the other thing I kind of resorted to, pooling the money from my friends and investors, and they really enjoyed the returns that I've been able to give over 10 years. So just to kind of mention it, bringing back to the Renters Nation concept, which is really
Renters Nation. That's
Renters
that's
Nation.
the one that scary thing, Vinny, is you're sitting here, you're calling this a Renters Nation. A lot, 90% of the people that listen to this podcast are real estate agents. They want you to call it a Renters Nation or a Buyers Nation or a Sellers Nation. And you're calling it a Renters Nation, and to me and to them, that's very scary. Why do you call it that, and what's happening here?
I would like to give the facts, and I truly apologize.
Let's not talk cliches. Let's not talk theory. Let's break down the facts, because I'm curious myself.
Totally. And, I would like to get the attention of your audience to things which are happening in USA. I've been in the USA for over 40 years.
40 years, okay.
40 years. I came with this, $7 into this country. I'm a mechanical engineer, and then I did my MBA in marketing over there at George Washington University. I was a motivational speaker. And then now I'm a broker now and an investor and syndicator, which I've been doing for the last 11 years. And what I've seen, and these are statistics right there on the internet. If you
let's talk about 30 years. Let's talk about 1990, right?
Yes.
To 2000, which is a decade. Then 2000 to 2010, which is a decade, and then 2000. Let's just take it to 2020. 2010 to 2020.
Yes.
First of all, let's take the first decade, Vinney. In the 90s,
yes,
right? What happened with rentals? Because I was there. I bought my first rental property in 1990. I bought my second rental property in 1992.
Mm-hmm.
And there at the time, people looked at me like I was a little odd, buying rental property. There wasn't a lot of people
sure
buying and renting out to other people. It just wasn't a thing, right? It just wasn't a thing. So tell me what happened there.
There, actually, the people who were renting the apartments went down. Actually, if you look at the graph, it went from about 62% down to about 59%. I'm looking at the graph.
So this is 59% of the population. By the way,
correct,
guys, this is in they weren't called millennials back then, but this was people between age 20 and 35. 15 years between 20 and 35, where most people you figure would be buying their first home. In the 1990s, it went down to less than half, right? Or roughly half rented and half bought. Okay. And then what happened when you went from 2000 to 2010, Vinney?
Wow. Now that's where the changes came. I think right at about 2000, I'm looking at the graph again, the statistics are proving themselves that the next decade, the renting went up. Oh my gosh, from almost like 59%. I'm looking at 2010, almost 63%. 63. There were people renting in our nation at that time, right at about 2010. But what's really spectacular is these last 8 years. If I look at the graph again, I know we are not showing it to the audience, but it went from 63% all the way to 66%.
I want you to think about the word toolbox. What is a toolbox? A toolbox is a box full of tools that you use to build something great. At Real Estate Rockstars, we've created our own free toolbox. So everybody that comes on the show as a guest brings a tool with them, and we plow them all into this toolbox, and we give it away for our viewing audience to basically use as they wish. Everything we put in there is an actionable item that can be downloaded, can be printed, can be used immediately. And we got things like scripts and dialogues, checklists for teams, checklists to keep agents accountable, referral forms that are filled out at settlement to get referrals by your buyers and sellers. Everything you can think of that you could use on a regular basis about real estate is included in this toolbox, and it's helping agents worldwide sell more houses and make their jobs a lot easier and processes much more efficient. And the thing is, it's absolutely free. All you got to do is go to hibandigital.com/toolbox or text the word toolbox to 444-999. That's toolbox 444-999. Do it now. 60. So it's about 66%. So it's about 66%. So, almost 2/3. It is 2/3, right?
2/3.
Yeah, a third is 33%. So 2/3 of the population between 20 and 35 rents. Now, why?
Wow. think again, my contention is, and what I've been able to talk to other people and learn from other people who are looking at these statistics, they are saying that the portability factor with the millennials, with the new age of internet, and also the the Ubers and all the different things happening, and intelligence and robotics and all that stuff, they liking more portability aspect of it, where they can move from one city to next city without having to sell their home or getting into it. And also some of these millennials kind of saw their parents lose the homes in that 2008 crash also. So that has a factor there in between also. They just feel like from all the studies, that they would like more portability, that they could go to apartment buildings, which are nice apartment buildings, by the way, like B class, which has got the gyms, beautiful equipment, swing pools, lap pools, jacuzzis, all the amenities are there, and they would love to live, and they don't want to worry about the lawn and mowing the lawn, and taking care of the exterior of the house, single family home, and all that, and paying also the property taxes. See, that's the other factor. When they are renting in these B class neighborhoods, in A class or B class neighborhood, in nice big apartments, B class, mostly we deal in C and B in our company. And that's where they like to have that, $1,400 rent possibly, or $1,300 rent, that can give them a beautiful place to live, which includes all these other amenities, and they don't have to pay the tax, property tax, or insurance. Insurance is also a lot too when you are having a single family home.
Yeah, this is interesting because, and I think technology has screwed this up or altered this graph a little bit, because, I can tell you from I'm 52, right? And so I think when I was about when I was in this range that we're talking about, like this millennial range, I was, let's say 20, let's just say I was 30, I was a little oddball on the street, meaning I always have hated mechanical things, so I never liked to mow the lawn or do weed whackers and crap like that. But every single neighbor I had when I was 30 was like, oh, it's very therapeutic for me. I love going out and dealing with my yard and cutting my yard and spending all day Saturday in my yard. And to them, it was something that their father did and their grandfather did. And having this whole concept of spending your weekends fixing up things was not only therapeutic, but it was something that you did. And I think technology kind of has interrupted that a little bit, and the people are like, well, that's really not for me to do. That's for somebody else. I would rather have someone else to do it, and then I could like it or hate it. I could be at home, inside, or enjoying an event somewhere, or, you know what I mean? I think that millennials tend to value events, experiences, things like that over things like fixing up the yard. And I think another factor comes to play with social media. It's become very easy to make a quote unquote friend, right? It's a very much more gregarious society, let's say. And when you live in an apartment building, it allows for that, right? They have events constantly. You're constantly meeting people your age. It's like the TV show Seinfeld, the TV show Friends, right? Where you meet people that have similar interests. And I think that attracts people more now than 30 years ago.
Sure.
You didn't attract people who were like, they were uncomfortable meeting new people, right? You knew the people, you knew your family, and you knew maybe the people you go to high school with, and that's it. So it's very different now. And I think all those things have made this go from 59% all the way up to 66%. which is fascinating. And they're guesstimating this one this one graph that Vinny and I are looking at. They're guesstimating that by 2020, it's going to hit 70% of people between 20 and 34 renting, right? So as real estate agents and real estate investors, what do we do about this?
Right. That's a very good point. Very good point. And also, I was just looking at the graph, nearly 4 million people are turning 18 years of age each year.
Wow.
You know, and then another statistic I wanted to share, I don't think I have it in the next graph, maybe it might, is the baby boomers, see? And what that has done also for the baby boomers who are in the age group like, you know, yours and mine now, you know, in the 50 to 50, 75, I'm 66. And they are actually downsizing. They are downsizing in the sense that they are moving to the sunny state.
Let's talk about this. Haven't people always downsized as they get older?
You know, they have. I think you're right.
They're downsizing more now than ever before. Is that what's going on?
Ooh, now that's a good one. I should look into that. Statistically, I could not comment on that, but I do have this graph in front of me, and you are seeing it too, that the home ownership has declined, which is probably the same as we just talked about, Renters Nation, 69% ownership.
2005.
Yeah, 5 to about 2016, it went down to about 63%, which we just talked about.
And by the way, this is all ages. So when you're not
all ages,
when you're not looking at millennials and you're only looking at all ages, it's
totally
at 63%.
Yeah,
and now what is it?
Totally, you know,
that was 2005. So 13 years ago, you know, it peaked and it's been declining every single year since 2005.
Yes.
And what's that now?
You know, I do want to make a case of it in the sense that as the baby boomers, you know, as they're retiring and they're looking for their, you know, golden years, I guess, they are moving possibly more into senior communities with more social, and again, to be able to really have that element where they don't have to worry about the same things we talked about, you know, the taxes and the, you know, taking care of their buildings and, you know, houses and things like that. And the other part is the mass immigration, which they are expecting again. You know, this year, we don't know. We are hearing a lot more turmoil about getting people out of, you know, USA than in USA. But as per the graph, you know, we look at it that the population has been increasing, immigrations, right here from, like, let's say we are in the middle here, 2020. I just looked at it, right? You're looking at it too. It's like about 250 million population, which we have total. Our nation will be almost 400 some million, and they are expecting a lot of immigration growth.
Well, I wonder if this is going to change now that they, you know, I mean, because immigration is big now, right? There's big changes, you know, that they're trying to make, and they are making in the immigration policy.
Right.
Now, you know, this is showing that basically in 1970, there's very few immigrants, right? I mean, America's always been full of immigrants, but what is this saying exactly?
Yeah,
what are you saying? That immigration is going to get so much? I mean, what's the point of this here?
I would say, Pat, it's saying to us that, you know, as you know, our nation, you know, USA, divorce rate and everything, and, you know, a lot of couples are not, you know, bearing children that much. So, and then attrition and the dying and everything, if we combine all that, our nation population will grow, but not as much, you know, intrinsically. But the population growth, what they are expecting in this graph, we are looking at is most by immigration from the people coming from other countries, skilled
You're
labor.
saying that's just there's going to be more people, so there's going to be more places to put them, and I guess in your mind, as a person that owns thousands and thousands of apartments, this is a good thing for you because a lot of these immigrants are going to want to rent because they can't qualify for a mortgage.
Truly, you're right. You're right. Again, I'd like to make a case that with your audience, and I
Please.
hope
Yeah, go
that
for
will be a positive one in the sense that, with all these discussion that we did so far, that we do take a good look at it. I know we want to do really well in our professions, but at the same token, saving money and investing into multifamily, could be 6 units, could be 8 units, could be 12, could be 50 units, is a good thing. I hope that, we could put a positive twist to the whole thing because, as you know, I mean, I was reading that, book Abundance, I think it's called, where they are talking about what will happen with the driverless cars, what will happen, when the ownership of the cars will be diminishing and the parking lots will not be needed, and things like that. I mean, that just really scares the heck out of, how we are already seeing the adjustments with robots now, that people are losing jobs. We have increasing job. We have very high, employment rate right now throughout the nation. But as we move each of the years, the intelligence, data that we have been able to gather, all these things, they're going to affect our, living styles. They will.
And now word from Carrie Shull, whose gross commission income has come close to $7 million in the last few years, and her net has been well over $2 million per year. This is someone you want to listen to.
For team leaders out there, if you have your people do this, the amount of time you're going to save training them will be worth a ton of money to you. They'll just be productive faster and be able to go out and generate incomes for themselves, which when I talk to team leaders, one of the biggest challenges they hire when they're already so busy that they simply don't have the time to train. And so the number of agents that will succeed by just sitting with you in the car and absorbing what you're doing, and then they're going to go out and clone you, that's not realistic. That's not how it actually happens. They need to understand why you're doing what you're doing and how it's working. And most of you, by the time you hire, you don't have the time to do that effectively. So when I heard that Pat was doing this on the listing side, I mean, we bought it immediately. We put our whole listing team through it. Now when someone starts with us, they take the whole listing course before they start training with our team. And it's fantastic. I think it's a game changer.
If you want the type of success that Carrie Shull and her team have, go to hybendigital.com/teams to get group pricing. Get every one of your agents certified, and you won't regret it.
And I think if I may make a case, again, very humbly, is that, for investment perspective, to get the returns on your savings. I know we are going through jitters of the stock market, which went down 1,175 points, last Friday, and then 500 points. And today, I didn't see it. It was down almost like, I thought 300 points or something.
Yeah. This is interesting, Vinney. Let me ask you a question. So here's what you're talking about, right? I want to go back to the self-driving cars thing. This is a fascinating conversation. Okay, so let's look at this. So, I was working out with my trainer this morning, and he has a franchise, right? He's a franchisor. I mean, he created it called Just You Fitness, where he trains people one at a time, right? Lifting weights, things like that. And it's in his garage. And his whole model, and he sold a bunch of these franchises, is to convert your garage into a gym. And I said, do you have a lot of reluctance when people want to convert their garages? And he said, not really, because if you think about it, garages are, they're not that important and he's in the South. A lot of his people are in Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. And he says, you know, it's not a big deal to leave your car outside. If you think about the wasted space in a house that's built for a garage to house an object that's a material object, it's really sometimes people's garages to house their cars are bigger than their master bedrooms. And he says, I think eventually people are going to start to understand that you really don't need a garage. And he explains that to people as a sales pitch to get them to turn their garage into a gym. So the reason that I'm bringing this up is because you talked about the self-driving cars. And I'm curious what you think about this. Do you think that 30 years from now, that the houses being built will not have garages?
That is very possible. Very, very possible. See, the thing is, it all comes from the point of view that a lot of people will not be owning cars. They will not be, because they'll be driverless Ubers standing right on your street, right outside, or very close to it. You know,
it's very
and
possible.
so forth.
Do you think that babies born today will never get a driver's license? Do you think? I mean, think about that, right? 16 years from now, right? I mean, think about how easy it is for kids to take Uber and Lyft and everything now.
Totally. It's so easy. And I know of a lot of people, you know, I'm sure everybody knows, a lot of people, you know, who are using Uber, Lyft, and other means. And it's so convenient, and you don't have to worry about parking. You don't have to worry about lots of stuff, you know. And again, with the ownership of a depreciable asset like automobile, you know, where you have to pay for the insurance and of course all the other stuff, and then storage, when there will be no product to store, garages will be gone. I see your point, you know. That's why I mentioned a little while back that there was a book, I think I was reading or somewhere, they were talking about this, all these parking lots will have to be converted into some kind of condos or something. I don't know. You know, I mean, they are.
Imagine if your whole net worth, if your whole life was parking garages and you owned 100 of them or 10 of them or one of them.
Oh my gosh.
You got a question is, or eventually you're going to start seeing less and less car ownership. It's kind of like how you're saying there's less and less home ownership. And these shifts, I mean, I think you know, people think they'll never happen, but you know, they do. It's kind of like VCRs, right? I mean, there was a time when everyone thought that everyone would have to own a VCR, and now nobody owns a VCR, you know? So, you know.
Totally, Pat. And you just mentioned about VCR. Boy, let's look at the cameras. I mean, those Nikons and those $1,500 cameras, and they're gone. They are a thing of the past. I mean, you know, now iPhone, Android phones can take pictures, and you could do so much, and the zoom functions and editing right there, and video recording, and oh my gosh. It's
and
just,
even televisions.
Yeah, for
sure. It's fun to watch TV, but but this whole idea of having a 10 televisions in a house, which I'll admit quite freely that, you know, there was a point in my life where I had, you know, probably 8 TVs in my house, and now I've got one. And I think a lot of it is because, you know, if you don't like what the family's watching, you can always pick it up on your laptop.
That's true. For sure. And then also on demand. I mean, you know, you don't have to be tied to the schedules anymore. You could just find it whenever you want to watch it, you know.
Right.
But
iPads, everything.
So much for bringing into this whole discussion. If I may say, I think, you know, with the jitterness, I just checked it, by the way, we lost 783 points today. Oh my gosh. And today's only Thursday.
I'm glad I'm in real estate, man. I got like less than 5% of my, I got about less than 5%. I probably got 3% of my net worth in the stock market. And most of it, you know, is in commodities, bonds, and I don't even look.
Very
Go to the next slide. Let's keep talking about this whole thing about, you know, about what's going on, renters versus buyers. You know, Vinny's getting ready to talk about a statistic. I'm going to open it up that in 2002, right?
Yes. The
2002
renters,
renter households in millions in the United States was 33 million. So 33
yep.
million rental households in 2002. What is it now?
Oh my gosh, as of the last statistic we were able to gather, 2016, it's 42%, 42 or 43, somewhere there, right
And you
about
think you figure it would
43%.
stay the same, right? I mean, because for years it stayed
Yes.
the same. Now, what's going on here? Why is this happening? What should we do about it?
Well, I think, again, if we come to grips of the whole situation, is that what's happening is that lots and lots of people, again, it could also be, Pat, because of the downturn, in the economies, and how we lost the home ownership, and how we were getting a lot of homes and rental homes. This might include the investment rental homes too, by the way, where people were able to get them steady income, properties and things like that. All those have to be put into perspective. But essentially, if we look at from the downturn of 2008, remember that crash right there?
Yeah,
Right
indeed.
there.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just gone up and up and up and up. Look at
So
that.
even in 2008, it didn't really make less. You would think, right, that well, maybe 2008 actually created more renters. You know what I
You
mean?
bet, you
For a
bet.
short sale,
Yes,
their credit got shot. They had to rent. They couldn't buy.
correct.
They got
Correct.
scared. Their tail is between their
Mhm.
legs. I'll never buy a house again. Um, their kids got scared because they saw their
Yep.
parents lose everything. They
Hmm.
said, "No one's
Hmm.
going to kick me out of a house. I'll just rent." But then,
Totally.
what's curious, Vinny, is that the renter households has drastically shot up from
Yes.
about 2014 to
Yes.
2018. I mean, so what? Any reason why?
Wow. Well, again, I wish I could substantiate, what I would like to say. I know I see the graph there, and that definitely might be bringing into the age group of millennials into it. It's possible, how we are saying that the rental demand has increased, and that's the only factor I can think of right this moment. There is no statistic now. It has leveled off here a little bit, right? We just saw
Yeah.
that right over here in the later part of 2015 and 16. But then again, 17 statistics I don't have in front of me. That might shows a trend again going up.
Yeah. So bottom
Um,
line is you're happy you got into the apartment building industry, the apartment owning industry when you did.
You know, kind of. You're right. You're right. I mean, I started my companies 10 years back, 10, 11 years back, 2007 and 8. I learned this business from scratch from very best coaches. And we have been able to do quite well. I've done 26 syndications, and I'm doing my 27th one now, which is my $50 million equity fund, kind of like a small REIT. We are raising money to buy more multifamily in the growth areas. What I have really kept with my business plan is jobs, jobs, and jobs. So I was like in Odessa and Midland and San Antonio, San Marcos, Seguin, all those. And out of my 14 syndications, I sold 10 already, made a lot of
Wow.
money from my investors and everything. And I purchased 12 more syndications
There
in
you
the
go.
last 3 years. Yeah,
Yeah.
three
Never
three
be
years.
afraid to sell and pay taxes. I'm a firm believer in that. Done it
Totally,
many times.
totally,
You know.
totally.
So
So, mhm.
So, Vinny, everybody that comes on our show brings with them a free gift, which is
Sure.
something that our Rockstar Nation can use on a day-to-day basis, in their real estate business, right? And what gift have you brought everybody today?
Well, I would love to. My book is not out yet. I would have given my book, but I have written some ebooks. If any of your audiences would love to find out more.
What's your most popular ebook, Vinney?
My very popular one is my spinning of 5 plates, and also how to really live your life with full happiness. That's nice. 21 different, segments. I've been a motivational
what's the 5 plates
speaker
about?
All my life. Yeah, 5 plates actually kind of teaches our audience if they would like to invest in multifamily and how they could do it easily through working with brokers, and especially because they are already sales agents and brokers, it will be very easy for them to ease into commercial side, and make the money in the residential side, maybe also spin off into commercial and invest money there and pool the money together. That's my big thing. There is so much money around us, and it's a great opportunity for everybody listening to me today. Pool the money together in a very simple way through syndication, and then buy multifamily for passive cash flow. That's the word. Passive cash flow, you bet.
Indeed. Well, what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to put both of Vinney's ebooks. Send those to me, please, Vinney. Both of Vinney's ebooks, Spinning 5 Plates, which is all about investing in apartments, and also his Life Happiness book. Put that on there as well. I'm going to put it on, and this is the second time Vinney's been on, so I'm going to put it on hibandigital.com/Vinney. Now, here's the thing. Vinney is Vinney. Vinney. Chopra, Chopra, and then the number 2. That's hibandigital.com/Vinney Chopra 2. I'm going to put all of Vinney's contact information there, so you guys can reach out to him and thank him for this, or chat with him some more about these demographic issues. And Renter Nation, let him know whether you agree or disagree, or let me know. And then, of course, it will also be in the toolbox, which everybody could get by going to hibandigital.com/toolbox or texting the word toolbox to 444-999. Vinney, look, this has been fun, buddy. Can't wait to get together with you in the future. You're always a blast to be with, and can't wait to mastermind on how to make more money investing in real estate.
Thank you, Pat. I really want to thank you for your time, and it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Real Estate Rockstars. If this free content is giving you a ton of value, I want to ask a small favor in return. I need you to pull out your pointing finger and hit the subscribe button. Yes, hit subscribe, please. The more subscribers that we get on Real Estate Rockstars, the better guests are attracted to the shows. We'll get more guests from the top companies, from the top teams, and even more celebrity guests like Robert Kiyosaki and Barbara Corcoran. Also, if you're not a member of our free Facebook group, go to Real Estate Rockstars Radio right on Facebook and join the conversation. I'm on there myself on FaceTime Lives, and we have a lot of communications and questions about the show, and I'd love to see you there. And it's free. People ask me all the time, where am I on social media? I'm real easy to find. Just type in my name. My IG is I am Pat Hiban. It is blowing up on Instagram, adding tons of subscribers, and I'm on there probably twice a day. So definitely follow me on Instagram, as well as everywhere else. Thanks again for listening, and keep rocking.